Well, for more on this, we have Matthew Wyman, a senior fellow at Keele University in the UK, and he joins us now. Matthew, has Russia changed its strategy here? It seems as if its ground offensive and its progress into Kiev has slowed. Why?
Well, it's been fought to a standstill. Clearly, the original plan was for a very rapid military advance, a three-day war, and their tactics totally failed. It's been quite an extraordinary series of events, really, where it seems like the Russian army has been extremely badly led. This is what you get when you put when you create a very hierarchical army structure following the orders of one man, rather than actually troops being able to make decisions in reaction to what the actual state of affairs is on the ground. So now we've moved to this different stage where the Russians, because they're seemingly unable to actually capture any of the cities which they thought they'd be able to capture really easily, have just resorted to this tactic of bombarding cities with their artillery. And really hoping to surround them and starve them and force them to surrender.
Has the extent of the Ukrainian resistance changed Putin's end game, do you think?
Well, anybody who watched Putin's speech 2 days ago, he was talking to his regional governors, and what he was saying about the war didn't seem to indicate any kind of change of purpose. He continues to use this language about demilitarization and denazification, and denazification can only mean that he wants regime change in. He continued to talk about this being a plot by Nato to dismember Russia and this sort of language. So I think when we look at what Putin is saying, there's really no sign of any possible grounds for a compromise or a negotiated settlement. And we've seen this before from Russia. We saw it in Syria, where that you pretend to be conducting negotiations and you pretend to be opening humanitarian corridors, but in the meantime you continue to bomb civilians, and you just use any pause as an opportunity to try to resupply your troops.
Well, we've just seen now the war in Syria entering its 12th year. So do you think that this is going to be another long, protracted, drawn-out conflict?
Well, the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, made a speech yesterday where he said exactly that really because there's very little basis for negotiations. I mean, in a sense, Putin has to present this as some kind of a victory. And in order to do that, he would have at least to say that the Russians have secured their objective of protecting Russians in southeastern Ukraine, i.e. the so-called Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, i.e. Russian-occupied Ukraine. But there's no possibility of the Ukrainians agreeing to give up territory to Russia and recognise that illegal Russian seizures of land are permanent. So it's really difficult to see what the basis of any treaty could be, and I think, as President Zelensky has said several times in the last few days, this war ends if Ukraine can actually achieve a military victory.
That would be surprising to many, but something we will obviously keep monitoring. We appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.